Hello, welcome to Count the Bucket. With your host, Zach Kautz. Let's get this money.
Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of Count the Bucket. I'm back as usual with my brother BK. BK, what is going on, man?
Not much, just chilling.
Word, we'll get right into it. Been some pretty entertaining playoff basketball we've been lucky to have. Crazy buzzer beaters, some crazy comebacks. And of course, we get to the Western Conference Finals. And it was a little bit of I wouldn't say a letdown. I mean, a lot of the games were still entertaining between the Golden State Warriors and Portland Trailblazers. But it ends in a sweep for Portland Trailblazers. The Warriors swept them without Kevin Durant, who was injured in the Houston series, without Boogie Cousins, and the last game of the series, Game 4, even Andre Iguodala didn't even play. So, Three of their key pieces without them. I think the story, obviously, of this series was Steph going back to being Steph. I don't think he ever left, but I do think that the people that have the narrative of Steph is not himself when Durant is around, I think now it's like more clear than ever.
Yeah.
So we can let's just start there. I want your thoughts, obviously, on the series as a whole, but more particular, obviously throughout the series, people kept saying Golden State doesn't need Durant. Golden State doesn't need Durant. I feel like everybody already knew this. You know what I mean? Like when Kevin Durant signed there, they went 73-9. They did not need him. It was necessity over need. He is one of the best players on the planet. When you add him to one of the best regular season teams ever, definitely you don't need.
Yeah.
I think which narrative started to swirl around, especially now that they swept, is are the Golden State Warriors a better team if Durant is not in that lineup? My thoughts, are they a better team? No. Clearly not. Kevin Durant's one of the best scorers to ever do it. When they played in the 2017-2018 finals with Kevin Durant, it was too easy, quite frankly. It wasn't like they were struggling for a championship. That being said, are they more fun to watch without Kevin Durant? Are Steph and Clay, more entertaining and catch fire easily without Kevin Durant? I think yes and yes. And I think I mentioned it to you once Kevin Durant was hurt in the Houston series. It's like they know how to play now. Like Steph, Clay, and Draymond, this is what they've been doing for years and years since they'd been drafted, or at least since Steve Kerr was hired as the head coach and they installed this new play style. But they just look so much more comfortable in their roles and just the movement with the ball and the ball movement and their defense with their rotations. This is why in 2015 they had that breakout year and made it to the finals and are going to 5 straight NBA finals now. So
yeah.
Those are let me hear your thoughts initially, and then we can get into more of the Golden State Portland stuff. But your overall thoughts, the team with and without Durant.
Yeah, so it's hard to say. I mean, there's a lot of evidence pointing towards the fact that they're better without him, given the whole record whereas without Durant and everyone else, they're 34-4, some crazy stat like that.
Yeah. What is it with him without Kevin Durant? It's like 31-1, right, or something like that.
Yeah, something crazy. But I think it's more. I don't know if I could say they're better. I'd say they're different and probably just more efficient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like obviously you're losing talent and your team's less talented.
And depth, yeah.
Yeah, in depth. But losing him kind of, as you were just saying, it brings out the best in their 3 other guys, which is kind of the dilemma most teams were facing before this whole Durant to the Warriors thing is, why would we add more players to diminish the effect of the players we already have?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when Durant's on the court, it's more like Durant, you got two shooters in Clay and Steph, and then you have a defensive stopper in Draymond. As opposed to when you don't have Durant, you have a dynamic playmaker, scorer, off-ball guy in Steph, who is one of the hardest off-ball people to guard in the league, if not of all time. The way he just runs routes around the courts, his quickness, he's crafty, he reads defense as well, going off-ball screens. With Clay doing the same thing, getting way more shots, and you can argue his play style is a lot more efficient than the looks Durant would be getting, where he's taking tough twos, which, I mean, he makes them more efficiently than anyone else, but they're still twos instead of catch and shoot threes by Clay.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the biggest things, too, is the offense runs through Draymond a lot more than it does Durant. When Draymond had the ball, he's pushing it up the court. He's putting pressure on defenses. He's making great reads on passes.
Yeah.
Which I feel like gets him a little more into the game, gets him more involved on defense.
Oh, of course. The energy, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, I don't know. They're a very different team. It's so starkly different watching them with Durant as opposed to without him.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Hard to argue better or worse.
Yeah, it's such a, he's hurt and he's not playing and they're playing so well. So, of course, the national media and everybody is going to start forming their opinions. I mean, it's silly to think that one of the best all-time players, not being on your team makes you better. But I think one of the hardest things in the NBA for teams is, maybe it's not that hard to find your 1 and 2 guy. You can find a superstar scorer and you can find a supplemental guy to that guy. That's, every couple drafts, there's, a superstar potential guy, or you get lucky and you sign somebody in free agency who's, going to give you 25 a night. What makes it more difficult and what makes these teams so successful, and it pains me to say it because Golden State is probably one of the best at doing it, is just finding bench players and role players that are perfectly fit into the system and know their role, right? It's such the cliche in the league, but if you have guys that know their role, and when Durant is out there on the court, it's almost like Steph and Clay, I feel like they almost feel like they're in the way. Yeah. It's like this weird psychological game, especially for me. I think it's between Durant and Steph. Obviously, Clay kind of fits in anywhere because he's more of a catch and shoot guy. Mm-hmm. But Steph, when he gets in the flow with his dribbles and his step backs, and that's when he's at his best because he's a shooter. He needs the ball.
The biggest difference I think is to surround Steph as opposed to surrounding KD with players is two completely different things. When you have Steph on the court, that's why it simplifies the roles of all their bench players so much because he just gets so much gravity. Yep. And that's why you see it's almost, you watch the game, it's the most frustrating thing. I can say from years of experience being painfully watching Warriors games, it's almost like they're not playing defense. That's only because you need two people to get out on him on a shot, then they're swinging the ball. There's always an open guy at the rim. Yeah. And it's catch and shoot, little layup, or it's a little, the one play I always hate that they do is when they swing it to Draymond, he drives the lane, and it's a lob to a dunk. Yep. For Kevin Looney, who I don't think would be good on any other team. But he makes a layup.
He's just so fundamental. Yeah.
That's all you need to do on that team. So, like you said, they're very good at drafting to their needs and guys that just have simple games that just know their role and stay within that role. So
yeah. I mean, even from the beginning with the very first team that made the finals, I mean, obviously the story was Steph, and, the Splash Brothers, Steph and Clay, but in the 2015 finals, it wasn't Steph. It was freaking Leandro Barbosa and freaking Livingston and Maurice Spate, these guys that were just, and Iguodala, these role players that just played so well on the biggest stage
because it was just so much easier for them. With just so much gravity everywhere else, they had free range.
Yeah. So I mean, me personally, KD joined the Warriors. Obviously, they become the team that everybody wants to lose, and of course, I don't want the Warriors to win another championship. That being said, can I sit here as a basketball fan and say when I'm watching, Steph 10 seconds before halftime, dribble out the clock, get a little pick and roll on Myers Leonard, step back from 38 feet and can one? I mean, that's entertaining to me. And I just sit there baffled. I'm like, Steph, It's stupid what he does with the basketball, and I know it's just for me. I don't mind Kevin Durant not being on this Warriors team. Obviously, it just makes it way more fun for me to watch. I think they're just a more entertaining basketball team. Yeah, it gets old seeing Durant just be one of the best scorers ever and just drain contested twos all game. Like he's just he's the guy that delivers every dagger for the Warriors lately.
Yeah, this is why just so many people are just starting to grow to hate Durant right now. It's just like you watch him on the team, and it's so clear they don't need you, bro.
Yeah.
Like the only reason they got you is they tricked you. They literally tricked you into thinking they needed you. All they needed you for was to get you off the Thunder.
Exactly.
That's the only reason they got him.
Exactly.
That's literally it. He was the biggest threat to them in that conference. They got him off the team, and they thought, we're getting probably the second best player in the world right now.
Yeah.
We're not going to get worse, and we don't have to play against him. Bing, bang, boom, 3 rings. And it's easy. So easy. Durant is probably the only person, or probably still is, the only person that could match up somewhat to LeBron in the finals and match his output.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put him on the only team that's ever really given LeBron problems besides maybe the Spurs.
Yeah.
There's nothing that anyone could have done, especially the Cavs. It was just a wave
it's
of
just too much. Yeah, it's just
too much.
It's
too much
just,
offense. Too much. It's just
sucks. But we'll get in some Blazers notes real quick. There was news that Dame suffered the injury in the last series against. Was it this series or in the Nuggets?
It was
series?
when
I think it might. Yeah, it might have been game 1 or 2 of this series. Yeah, he dove on a loose ball, and you could tell it looked like something on his shoulder at first, but he fell right. It got separated ribs.
He just didn't look right.
I don't know if anybody has had rib injuries before, but from what I've heard, I haven't. But from what I've heard, you struggle breathing. Yeah. When you have separated ribs. So nonetheless, trying to compete in one of the most competitive playoff series of your entire career, he battled through it. He didn't play his best. I guess there's some positive that takes with Portland. You found out who Myers Leonard is. He's a pretty good player. It was good to see him play well. He had an angry dunk over Draymond with an all-time flex. He flexed hard on Draymond, which you love to see. I gotta say though, Myers Leonard not really digging the inside the biceps tattoos on your arms, bro. That's a little. Don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, those were the main points I had with Portland. And then the other thing, CJ, what happened, bro? I feel like I know he played all right, but from Denver game 7, bro, if Dame's got the separated ribs, bro, try and take a little more leadership. Be like, yo, I got you. Let me go,
Yeah, he had a tough matchup of Klay Thompson pretty much the whole series too, which all you had to do which is why the Warriors have so many luxuries. You throw a double team at Dame, you throw Klay on CJ. Who's going to beat you on the Blazers? Nobody. Yeah. You'll let Myers Leonard drop 55.
Yeah.
They're not beating you with that.
No.
That's why my main thing that I took away was did the Blazers look better than any of the top 4 teams in the East?
No.
They really didn't.
No,
which is
not
just,
at all.
Honestly, the distance between even the Rockets, I feel like the Rockets didn't. I struggled to say that, but they disappointed me too.
Yeah, they came close. Portland, close. They never really had. Let's be honest. There was glimpses, but yeah.
Maybe the Rockets and the Warriors are the only 2 teams I'd say in the West right now that are better than those 4 teams in the East.
Yeah.
That's all I see. That's it.
Yeah.
Everyone else is at the same level. They got 1 or 2 stars, and that's it. Or they're too young.
Yeah, well, they just re-signed Terry Stotts. He did a great job. If honestly, you know me, before the season started, I don't know if you remember, but I was almost in the boat that I thought Portland was going to take a step back. I thought some teams were going to get a little bit better. Yeah, they did not go out right. Their pieces, they just stay two of the same. Me and you would watch, and I'm just like, yo, this lineup where it's Harkless and Farouk with 2 of these guards, and it really did suck they didn't have Nurk, because I think that would have helped tremendously. And obviously Cantor was banged up too, so their bigs were not there, literally not there. Look, I mean, they battled. That's all you can ask. But what are you gonna do, man?
I mean, definitely. It's an accomplishment to go from being swept in the first round to getting swept in the Western Conference Finals. But
yeah, that's what I'm.
they
Yeah, that's
just
if you said at the beginning of the year, it'd be like no chance. Western Conference Finals, you're out of your mind.
yeah, it's just they just need another guy, or they're never really gonna get past that hump. So.
Last note with the Warriors stuff. We mentioned it before, but as much as I freaking hate him, like Draymond Green just played very, very well. And it's like I cannot stand him.
Season.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but he played very, very well. I forget what the question was that I kept seeing. Oh, on the jump they were talking about it. Like, is Draymond or Steph more crucial to the Warriors' success? And I think it was tough because when there's no Durant, no Boogie, no Iggy, yes, I think Draymond does become like super crucial part, of their success. When everybody's back though, and you need that second guy, then maybe it's got to be Steph.
Yeah,
I don't know how do you. That's such a tough question because they're different positions, and like they both do amazing things for their team.
Right. I don't know. That's tough because, and this is why again I think Steph Curry's been very fortunate with just the roster that's around him. Is he's not really a traditional point guard.
Yeah.
I've gotten into many arguments with people when I always call him a combo guard because when you think about it, people called C.J. McCollum a shooting guard all the time. And what's the difference between the way he plays and Steph plays? Except that maybe Steph brings the ball up more. Not much difference there.
Yeah.
So the fact that you can have a guy like Draymond who basically runs your offense, pretty much is the only guy that gets all the other players involved, like the bench players and everything. He's getting them to play more efficient. And then on the defensive side, he's switching 1 through 5. He's one of the best help defenders in the league. And great hands. Just the deflections him and Iguodala get just piss you off to no end. And he's a great rim protector, somehow. Somehow he is a great rim protector, even though he's 6'7".
Yeah.
So he maybe just by the volume of stuff he does might be a little more.
And it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet,
Yeah. Right. But obviously without the offensive firepower of Steph, you're a different team. So.
And it freaking killed me too because, another guy that the Warriors freaking scooped, we won't get mad, but freaking Jordan Bell. Draymond set him up for an easy little, cherry picking one hand dunk, and he fanned it. He bounced it right off the rim. Happens a lot, but it was a big bucket at the time. And there's a clip of him on the free throw line. He's like, "Hey, did he miss a shot tonight? Did he miss a shot tonight? I missed a shot tonight. No, he's perfect. Let's go. Let's move on." And then, like, honestly, that's great for a young player to hear that. With Draymond, a guy who's won rings and everything. Obviously, Jordan Bell has, but like, it's just the leadership stuff. He pisses me off. I've hated him since 2015. I always thought thinks he could shoot when he damn well knows that he cannot shoot at all. It just pissed me off to see him go in. But yeah, Draymond, it'll be interesting to see who makes it out of the East. We'll get there too, but he'll be crucial in the finals, I think. But the last thing, I know you saw it and you were just talking about it, how you don't consider him a point guard. Andre Iguodala, man, I don't know what that guy must have been under some hallucinogens or something. But he did say Steph is the second greatest point guard ever behind Magic Johnson.
He also said, and let's not defer this. He said he was also the second greatest player of all time.
He did, yeah. See, he's I don't know. Maybe they gave him a little something for his recovery, and it's hitting him a little stronger. You know what I'm saying?
Some stuff.
But I do want to point out the incredible conference finals that Steph did have. Obviously, Dame was a little banged up. This is a tweet that I found from Justin Kubatko. I don't know. He's an NBA writer somewhere. Most points in NBA postseason history by a player in a 4-game sweep. Number 4, we got Kobe, 140 points total. Number 3, LeBron James in 2017 Eastern Conference semis. I want to say that was against the Celtics, right? He had 144 points. Shaq with 145 in the 2002 finals, I believe, against the Nets. And then Steph Curry with 146 in this year's Western Conference Finals. 4 straight games. I think it was like 36 game 1, 37 game 2, 36 game 2, 37 game 4. Pretty incredible stuff when you're in the conversation with Kobe, LeBron, and Shaq in postseason history.
Absolutely.
My whole thing with this, it's extremely difficult to compare Magic and Steph.
Mm-hmm.
I said it on Twitter. Magic is the best passer ever. Steph is probably undoubtedly the best shooter ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be impossible to debate who the better quote-unquote point guard is. If you want your point guard to score a little bit more, maybe you lean towards Steph. But if you want your point guard to be more traditional and really set up teammates, obviously it's hands down Magic is the greatest to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
My point is both will be two of the best to ever do it when it's all said and done, you know?
Yep.
With the rings, with the points, with the accolades, everything, with the MVPs. I don't get this debate. I don't understand why Iguodala said it. Obviously, he's going to say it because it's his teammate. But yeah, very interested to hear your incredibly positive thoughts, I'm sure, on this.
See, Steph Curry has been such an enigma to me for so long because...
Which is why he's transcended the league.
I see. You know? Well, I know why he's transcended the league is because he's the greatest shooter of all time.
Yep.
And I'll give him that. He's definitely the greatest shooter of all time, although I know we've had this disagreement that I still think Jordan and Kobe could easily be in the conversation of greatest shooter because degree of difficulty, but I'll move off that. Steph's the greatest shooter of all time.
Yep, pure shooter. Yeah.
I have to always think about what if other players at similar skill levels had his same situation. What if you gave AI, the second best shooter in the league, a great playmaking defensive stopper who's all around the court, a veteran like Iguodala who's you can put on your best player, you don't have to do anything, and then the offense is you get picks all around the court. Mm-hmm. What if you put like AI on that team, you know?
Yep.
What if you put any other type of point guard on that team? It could be a different. Now, obviously, that never happened. You can never compare it. But that's why I struggle with putting Steph up there.
I mean, we got to be honest, though. I mean, who do you have ahead of Steph, though?
I'd put Magic, Oscar Robinson above him just for the pure physical dominance that both those players had.
Okay.
And see, I'm a purist, though. If I'm talking point guards, I want a guy who's setting my team up and doing the little things. That's why I think John Stockton is a better point guard than Steph. I think Steph's a better player than John Stockton by far.
Okay, yeah.
But John Stockton has the most assists, most steals in history, and that'll never be touched, ever.
True, yeah.
So, and then even guys like Isaiah Thomas. I feel like he had to do more for his team than Steph did.
I hear you.
Know? So it's tough. I think it should go Magic, Oscar, and then a three-way tie between those other three guys because they affected the point guard position from three different angles. So I'll give Steph that.
Yeah.
But second best player of all time is
that was an outstretch. If he said second best point guard of all time, I'd been like, okay, that's totally fine. Which I don't know if he said it in two different quotes. Yeah. I wouldn't fault Steph too much for what he has around him. I mean that's not really. That's just Golden State drafting extremely well.
I'm not holding it against him.
Yeah, I'm
just keeping it in perspective.
Yeah, no, you got to keep in perspective. He's not the pure point guard. He's still a pretty good passer, but I would say in terms of handles and shooting combined into one, I mean, I guess that's not typically a point guard. I guess you could say shooting guard, small forwards, they can all have it, but he's a much better shooter than Stockton or Big O or Magic ever was.
Right.
He's not a bad rebounding guard now, but Oscar and Magic were two of the greatest rebounding guards. So it's so hard to compare. I think it's interesting. Even just today's play style. I mean, Steph shattered Larry Bird's all-time 3-point field goal, mark in one season. It's just a different era. So yeah. Well, Iguodala, I respect that you got that much love for your teammate, but we got to slow the roll just a little bit on second all time.
Yeah.
He's got, there's another dude with the Lakers that's probably got that sewn up right now and to be determined in the future.
You going to learn next year.
But we'll move on. Hopefully, the Eastern Conference Finals have been complete opposite of the Western Conference Finals. A couple very good games. Very impressive Game 4 performance from Toronto. I know you texted me literally during the game. You're like, man, the Bucks just look a little gassed. Mm-hmm. We know how it is when home teams go back to their home court. The role players always play better. We got Norman Powell playing well. We got Van Vliet finally playing well. We got Serge Ibaka stepping up for the Raptors. I mean, where was that been, you know? Kawhi's playing a little banged up. Giannis seems a little frustrated or just, you know, not being able to play the way that he wants. I feel like he's just taking a little bit of a toll. Mm-hmm. And then, dude, I have it written down with a bunch of question marks. Eric Bledsoe. Like, dude, where are you, man?
Visible, yeah.
I want to say on an earlier pod, we talked about the series, and we said that it might come down to Kyle Lowry and Bledsoe. And, man, Kyle Lowry's running away with that. He's playing really well. So I think this goes 7, and I think it's a complete toss-up of who wins the series. I'm not as confident as I used to be in the Bucks. I think the way that the Raptors are defending the Bucks right now is a very good formula for success, and I'm leaning towards Raptors in this series, bro. I got to be honest. When you force Giannis to be the playmaker, you know, which he is great at, and obviously they have good players surrounding Giannis, but like, I'll take like Mirotic and Brogdon trying to beat me, you know, over like Giannis trying to get 35 and 17. Like, I'll let Giannis get as many boards and assists possible, but like, we'll let the other guys beat us. And I think that's kind of what the Raptors' philosophy here has been. Obviously, they switched Kawhi onto Giannis too. Interested on your thoughts on that, but yeah, man, this is a series.
Yeah, this is the thing. Every year, you have to try and keep yourself neutral when you're watching the first 2 games at home, and you always say it never starts until the other team gets to play at home.
Yep.
But it does not matter how badly you beat them on your home court. You know what I mean? That you can apply that to literally every team. It just doesn't matter. You have to see how they play on the other team's court. I also agree. I think this goes 7. I'm pretty confident the Bucks will still win.
Yep.
And I think
they've been good at home, so that's all you can. Yeah.
So I feel like there's 2 takeaways you can take away from this series. Either both these teams don't have enough to beat the Warriors, or both of them do have enough to beat the Warriors. It's whichever stance you want to take. Probably leaning towards don't, but you know what? I'm feeling optimistic this year. I'm trying to stay positive. I'm going to lean towards they both have it. Why? You know?
Yeah.
Let's just hope that the Warriors stay hurt, or when they come back, they're worse. Whatever. Just stay positive. But I think the biggest thing in this series, the teams are so evenly matched in terms of talent and even team structure. It's very similar. I think it obviously comes down to whose bench is going to play better, who's going to make more threes. So I'd give the edge to the home court team. Just that's huge for bench players, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
In terms of how the Raptors are guarding Giannis, I think I texted you this. When the bench plays worse for the Bucks, it makes it so much easier for them to defend Giannis.
Oh, 100%.
Like when you put Bledsoe out there and you don't have to respect him from 3. When you put whoever else who's just not hitting shots, it's so much easier to bring help, bring the whole paint down there, just have a whole wall of people. Again, though, now that they have more information, they've seen Toronto at their best. They're gonna adjust.
Of course,
they're gonna adjust again. I think next game, I think the Bucks will win pretty handily. I'm not convinced that. I don't know how to put this, but I don't think it's a bad thing to have Giannis as a playmaker. I think if you start him out in the game, this is what LeBron used to do all the time. He'd spend the whole first quarter just getting his teammates going, getting them good shots. If you're going to double team me, whatever. I'll make the right play. I'll get my teammates going, get them going hot. And then in the later quarters, that's when you have to make the defense make a decision. People are hitting threes from the corners like Middleton, Mirotic, Brook, all the shooters that they have. Once they start hitting shots, you really want to play that game where we're going to sacrifice that shot to stop Giannis. You know what I mean? So that's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, Giannis has to shoot better from the line.
Yeah.
That's just a gimme. Your best player has to shoot.
No air balls, please. No air balls.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
But
wipe the hands off.
I'm not going to lie. I will not be that disappointed if Toronto wins the series. I'm not going to be that disappointed.
No,
I think
at all,
Kawhi, the only thing that bothers me is maybe Kawhi is a little more hurt than he's letting on, although he seems pretty fine when he's playing in those games.
That dunk with the left, oof. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I've seen it before. Kawhi's problem for the Warriors.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, if the Toronto bench plays, if they bring it and they match up, like they have more depth than the Warriors, especially if Durant is hurt.
Yeah, they have one of the most deep teams in the league.
And like Jalen isn't even playing. He's a solid player. Like he's just on the bench. I think Pascal is a very very tough guard for potentially the Warriors. I am leaning more towards. I'm so scared of Golden State without Durant because I feel like they're just gonna be that team, but I feel like Durant will come back for the finals. And I think if I'd rather have a team play against Golden State with Durant, I know everybody was super excited for the Giannis KD matchup, but I would be more intrigued, I think, with the KD Kawhi matchup.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I know Bledsoe would be a good cover for Steph, but I mean, Lowry's pretty similar. He might be a little bit slower, but he's stronger. He's strong enough. He could push Steph off of some of those screens. They could put Norman on Steph. I'm with you though. I still think the Bucks will play much, much better at home, and especially those role players that we always talk about, Connaughton and Mirotic and Brook Lopez and a couple of those guys really, really accelerate their play. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Bucks win in 7.
Although I will say though, the thing that has me a little nervous comparing the 2 home games at Toronto versus 2 home games at Milwaukee, it was pretty clear in the Toronto when they're at Milwaukee, their bench was just failing them. Like Kawhi was playing great, Lowry was playing great. Maybe Marc Gasol probably could have played better, which I don't know what's wrong with him, but he needs to just play better.
He played good game 3, yeah.
Yeah, he's been a good defender too, so I'll give him that. But when the Bucks were at Toronto, their bench wasn't great, but it looked more like their players were just tired. So that makes me wonder about they're a young team. They've never been this far in the playoffs. They don't know about how to work in the offseason to maintain that workload, especially Giannis never really being there.
Yeah.
And Middleton. So, I don't know. Maybe it'd be better to have a team with more
that's a good point.
Experience.
That's a very good point because besides Pascal and really, I don't literally Pascal's really the only guy, and even he went, he played against Cleveland last year, and I think the year before, I don't know, he might have been a bench player then, but this Toronto team is veterans, man. Like, Marc Gasol he's on the back 9, like he's been around, and I think he's trying to prove something that he's been wanting to prove for a while. They got to the playoffs with the Grizzlies a couple times, but they didn't do squat. No. So I think he puts it on himself. Serge, obviously, he's been around for a while. Lowry, Danny Green, the list goes on. So yeah, I mean, that's a good point. You maybe want a little more experience. The Bucks are still super young. Giannis is what, 20, 25, 24? Like it's stupid. I'm very excited for Game 5. What is it? The winner of Game 5, goes on to win 83% of the series, or whatever that freaking number they bring up. Another stat I wanted to bring up: Kawhi, 32 points per game in his first 15 playoff games. That is second ever in the last 20 seasons, only behind, the LeBron James last year, 2017, with 33.7 points per game in the first playoff 50 games. So that's Kawhi is snapping into Mamba mode, which you love to see. Looking forward to it. Either way, I think the finals will not be a cakewalk for the Bucks. I mean, for the Warriors. We can agree on that.
Yeah.
Either matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope so. Jeez, I don't know. We'll move on. A couple days ago, the NBA finally released its all rookie teams and all defensive teams. We'll start with the all rookie teams. First team all rookie was Trae Young, Luka Doncic, Jaren Jackson Jr., Marvin Bagley, and DeAndre Ayton. And the second team, give me it again. I know you had it. It was
Shai Gilgeous, Colin Sexton, Landry Shamet, Kevin Huerter, and then Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, so the first thing right off the bat, if you notice with the all-rookie first team, those were the top 5 picks in this year's draft, which was pretty interesting. I saw a stat on the Inside NBA on TNT. That's the first time ever since 84-85, and I wonder whose draft class that was.
Pretty legendary.
Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Charles Barkley. So that's some pretty good freaking company.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on the first team first, and then we'll dive into the second team.
Yeah, I think there's a lot there to be very excited about. Obviously, I think I saw that Luka Doncic and Trae Young were both unanimous first teams.
Yep.
Makes perfect sense. They're just two. I
They
feel they're going to
transitioned
be.
so well. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be transformational players. I
Yeah.
mean, Trae is pretty much the second in coming of Steph, who might even be a better passer.
Yeah.
And then you have Luka Doncic, who's basically a European shooting. It's hard to compare him to LeBron because he doesn't really shoot
I
like
knew you were gonna say it. I was like, is he about
he's,
to say Braun right here?
it's tough,
European
but
Braun?
he's a 6'8" version of Dirk almost, who
Yeah.
is more versatile, can move more, just super skilled for his age. I mean, insane. Though he got floaters, he has fadeaways, he shoots one-footed threes.
Yeah.
He is going to be. He has the potential to be one of, if the best player in the NBA.
Yeah. 100%.
Marvin Bagley, I think, has a lot of good tools. I think his ceiling's a little lower than those two,
Yeah.
but he can definitely be a good player. Very good potential for that whole Kings team. Jaren Jackson, another guy, just a super versatile player, can probably switch 1 through 5. Already can shoot, great length. He'll be a great player for the Grizzlies. Hopefully with John Morant.
Yeah.
Unless they want to take RJ and go for it. Then DeAndre Ayton, he is all potential. I feel like he just needs to get in a weight room, get his feet under him, get on a nutrition plan, start expanding the range. He's got good form, a lot of good skill. Obviously a very good rebounder already, big body. So
Yeah.
I think if he gets a year under him, he'll be an elite player. So
Where in terms of, I mean, just these top 5, in terms of like the last since LeBron's draft class, I mean, you could argue this has been the best one since LeBron's draft class.
You gotta wait it out. Definitely gotta wait
Obviously.
it out. But it's looking like it.
It's interesting to me because all 5 of those guys might not have been NBA ready in terms of their bodies. You know, you look at Trae Young, you're like, what the heck? Like, you know, this dude's skinny. He's skinny. He's got weird hair. Like, how is this dude like a baller? Like, he put up good stats as a rookie. Like, and same with Luka. Like, you don't think NBA players walked out and they're like, oh, this freaking 19-year-old Slovenian dude. Yeah, we're about to cross this boy up, but the boy can ball. And I think same with Jaren, same with Marvin, same with DeAndre. They're all just super, super skilled, especially for their size. And I know you have been a big proponent of it, especially with the AAU generation, is that all we're going to start seeing with these 16, 17, 18-year-old kids is they're going to be 6'11", and they can handle, and they can shoot, and they can do it all. And it's crazy. So that's why, you know, a guy like Marvin, a guy like Jaren, you know, initially in the beginning of the year, they weren't getting a lot of minutes. No. You know, like there were guys in front. I think Zach Randolph was playing before Marvin Bagley, which is just a joke. Yeah. But when you put them out there, they saw, holy crap, these kids can literally contribute for us right now. Like the Grizzlies with Marc Gasol and Mike Conley, they were legitimately for a second were like, yo, like this is gonna be a decent team with Jaren if he steps up and plays well. And obviously it didn't turn out that season, but yeah, I think the future's bright for all 5 of them. I'm very interested to see the Rookie of the Year. I think it's gonna be Luka. I think it should be close.
I think it should be Ko.
That'd be pretty interesting. Last time was what, the J Kid and who was he co-Rookie of the Year? Yeah, Grant Hill. Yeah, so that would be interesting. I don't know how I feel about co-Rookie of the Year, but they definitely both deserve it. I saw somebody say, like, this is my bold opinion, but Luka Doncic has the potential to be the best player of the 2020s, like all time. Like when it's, you know, like 10 years from now, we'll be like, yo, this was Luka's decade, you know, the same way we said the 2010s were bronze, you know. So anytime you can talk about a rookie like that, I mean, that just speaks for itself. Then the second team, we got the 2 teammates, obviously weren't teammates at the beginning of the year, but Shai Gilgeous and Landry Shamet. Good future there in LA. Kevin Huerter and Colin Sexton, also 2 pretty good guards on bad teams this year. And of course, the New York Knick boy, Mitchell Robinson, who was one of the best shot blockers in the league when he was getting minutes. I really like Shai Gilgeous and Shamet together. I think Shai Gilgeous has more potential, even though Shamet, you know, as we saw this year right away, is you can throw him out there. He's a solid player. Got the strap from 3.
Yep.
Like, did not see that coming. Sexton, I'm still on. I think he was just on a super bad team, and they just said, hey, go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Herter, I really like. I think when Atlanta went into the draft, they knew exactly what they were looking for, and they found exactly what they wanted in Trey and Herter.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the Splash Brothers 2.0 with Steph Clay.
Omari Spellman, who was
Omari Spellman, who could shoot that ball a little bit. Where the Hawks drafted this year? Like 7?
I think they're
9 or something. Are they 5th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they can add another good piece for it. So, yeah. Any thoughts on that second team? I thought it was pretty fair. Maybe my boy Alonzo Trier got nipped there, but you know.
Yeah, I
whatever.
think it's pretty solid. Colin Sexton at the end of the year very well. I'll give him that. But again, I'm kind of with you there. He just has a
tanking team.
He has an awkward year, but at the same time, the kid's a absolute workhorse. So he maybe just by sheer force of just hard work and everything, I think he could be a really good player.
Yeah.
Shai Gilgeous, I agree with you. I think he has super high potential. Just another new wave point guard, just 6'6" or 6'5", whatever. Can just guard
the floor really well, yeah.
Yeah, can guard 1 through 4. Just a great grinder guy. Herter, great shooter, great length, and then obviously
pretty athletic too. Herter,
yeah.
Sneaky athletic. I didn't realize. He got up a couple times.
Same with Landry Shamet, sneaky athletic.
Yeah,
he can move his feet pretty well in defense. He can handle the ball pretty well. And then obviously Mitchell Robinson, just a freak athlete.
Mm-hmm.
His hand-eye coordination is really good.
For his length,
you see him catching some of those lobs, even the way he blocks, that just takes a special type of coordination. So,
yeah,
big things for him. Hopefully, we keep him throughout the offseason. But for a certain guy named Anthony,
you never know. Then we'll take a look at the all defensive teams real quick. First team: Bledsoe, Smart, Giannis, PG, Gobert. Second team: Drew Holiday, Klay Thompson, Draymond, Kawhi, Joel. I think this is kind of funny because. I honestly think that the second team should probably be the first team. Maybe Joel and Gobert should switch and Draymond and Paul George. But other than that, I mean, Drew Holiday and Klay, I'm probably taking over Bledsoe and Marcus Smart. Maybe Marcus Smart.
Definitely Drew Holiday.
Yeah. You don't think Klay too?
Yeah, Klay.
Over Bledsoe?
Klay's a great defender, but Drew Holiday, man, he was putting clamps on people the whole year.
No, yeah, that's why I think he should be first.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the same with Klay. I don't know about the Smart and Bledsoe decision, but I guess they kind of earned. I know Marcus Smart has definitely earned one of these all first teams, and he hasn't gotten it in a couple of years, so it's good for him.
I was definitely
Am I missing something with Bledsoe? Yeah, am I missing
Bledsoe probably got the benefit of the doubt of being on the best defense in the league.
Yeah,
probably why, but
yeah,
I don't know if he really deserved it.
Yeah, so, but other than that, I mean, I have no problems with it. If Gobert received the most first team points, 97 out of 100. The three people that, like, what? Who didn't vote for him?
Yeah.
Paul George and Giannis right there with 96 and 94. So, man, I honestly, I'm taking the second team, man, to clamp up the first team.
I think it's fair to say that you probably should switch the backcourts. I'd probably just switch Drew Holiday and Bledsoe, honestly. That's probably the one change I would make.
Kawhi's got to be in there.
Had a great year, but he had to do way more offensively, so he wasn't the same defender. Obviously, he was great, one-on-one defender, but he didn't have all the time to focus on defense. Draymond and Klay, the problem with that is they played with 3 other All-Stars the whole year. Yeah. So it's kind of everything that a Warrior is, you take with a little bit of an asterisk.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Yeah.
Embiid, I feel like definitely got hated on a little bit because he had a great defensive year. You could have put him in conversation for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. No, yeah. And I mean, especially late in the year when Simmons, Tobias, Jimmy, and JJ, like, Joel is by himself as a rim protector. You know, like the Tobias and Ben Simmons aren't going up and trying to swat big men, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Joel, I'm with you. He played really well. Just for hope he can always stay healthy because it was a shame to see kind of how he played against Toronto. But, you know, that's here nor there. Tomorrow, the All NBA teams get released. Give me your All NBA first team real quick.
Real quick, all right.
I got
All NBA first team.
Steph, PG,
Okay.
Giannis, KD, Joel.
No Harden?
Harden instead of Steph.
I'd probably go Harden, PG, Giannis.
I forgot about Harden. But you got to have two guards.
Yeah, they're guards.
Who?
PG's basically a guard.
He's a forward for defense. That'd be tough.
So I'll go.
Somebody might get. Dude, someone's getting gypped. Whether it's Kawhi, PG, Giannis, or Durant, one of them's getting gypped.
I think it'll probably be Durant.
Two of them got to get gypped. Yeah, it'll probably be
You
Durant.
know who I might. You said Embiid, right?
Yeah.
I think
maybe Jokic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that man deserves it.
Man, that's gonna be tough. I don't know who the writers are gonna vote for.
Yeah.
All right, we'll wrap it up with a couple of off-season drama. Of course, you can never stop talking about it lately in the NBA. Kevin Durant's agent was on some, I don't know what he was at, some symposium, some forum or whatever. He was just talking. Durant was probably like, yeah, go do your thing. Whatever. If they ask me, say I'm 100% on his side. But the guy presenting the question was like, so apparently, there's this unspoken agreement apparently with Kevin Durant, and the agent basically shut him down and was like, no way. He's 100% undecided of where he's going to play next year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you buy that crap or not?
Well, let's just talk about how stupid of a reporter you have to be to ask that question.
Yeah,
Are you an idiot?
Yeah, you gotta be.
Oh my God. So basically, they've already talked about it. They're agreeing, they're signing, even though free agency hasn't even started and he's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You idiot.
Yeah.
That is really dumb. I saw that, and this is why reporters are some of the dumbest people on the earth. But yeah, obviously, if you're an agent,
that's what you have to say. Yeah, that's exactly what
that's how you get all the money, bro.
Yeah.
Holy
of course,
crap.
dude.
I really honestly wonder about some of these reporters, man. That's why if you watch one of those compilations online, the dumbest questions people have asked, you will have a great time watching that.
Yeah. So that was pretty interesting. And then all these stupid rumors with the Brooklyn Nets. Oh my God. And the thing I love is how much Brooklyn Nets Twitter loves going at the Knicks. Like, they can never get enough of it. Spencer Dinwiddie's been in the news because a fan tweeted at him, when the Knicks get KD and Kyrie, like, it's not going to matter. Like, you're not going to be the best team anymore, whatever. And Spencer Dinwiddie replied back. He said, if that happens, we will still be the best team in New York. And I said, boy.
Come on, bro.
You out your goddamn mind. But he's going to say that, whatever.
You know what the funniest part about that was?
What?
The reply picture that he sent was a picture of him in the Garden.
Yes, yeah, right, with him.
Couldn't even find a Barclays.
He made it his profile picture. He made his profile picture. And it's like, people were like, oh, yeah, he's not going to put a picture of Barclays when it's, empty. Bottom half of attendance and, whatever, yeah. And then so then all the rumors start swirling with Brooklyn in the picture. So, a lot of people think Tobias is a perfect fit. I think that would be good for Brooklyn. Keep the young core, add Tobias, a guy that can play around D'Angelo. But they're obviously going to be in the running for Kyrie. Kyrie wants to be closer to home, so the Knicks and Brooklyn are both on his short list. And the Nets do have some pieces if they want. They could get into the Anthony Davis sweepstakes, and they think that's how they could allure Kyrie to Brooklyn, is to try and trade for AD. Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about that? I would want it more in New York, obviously, but
yeah, the Nets have probably
like they're talking about trying to trade like Jared Allen and LeVert for AD, and I'm like, why would you want to do that?
That's just not enough, though.
It's not even enough. It's like those are two of your most promising young players.
Yeah, you're gonna have to trade your best young players.
Yeah,
like that's just what you have to do to get Anthony Davis, and probably one of your best picks. And you're probably not signing D'Angelo. You have to let him go too. So
Yep.
And it's not going to happen. I think they're going to re-sign D'Angelo and maybe, like you said, get a Tobias.
Yep.
Or just like another supplemental guy, which is what they should do. Just stay with the core, man.
They played well. They played well this year. They got a good coach, a lot of good players who know their role, like we said way back when we talked about the Warriors. And then lastly, with the Pelicans, David Griffin has been adamant now that they are going to try and recruit. It's funny how they have to recruit their own player to want to stay with the Pelicans now, with the potential of pairing AD with Zion. Oh my God, that's scary. But yeah, I mean, Drew Holiday, Zion, and AD. I mean, shit. Why not run that on him? It's going to be a 1-year recruiting process, like it is. See how they play up until the deadline. If they're not in the playoff contention, he's gone.
The thing with Anthony Davis is how did drafting a really good rookie change anything for him? I love Zion.
It shouldn't.
Zion, I think, has another potential. I think it'll be between him and Luka Doncic of who's going to be the next best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
But he's not helping you win a championship right now.
Yeah,
he's not helping any team win a championship right now, and that's all he wants. That's it.
Exactly. He's done his. He's probably gonna say, "Look, Zion, look, man, I know you're gonna be insane, but bro, I did my time. You start your time." And at the same time,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Griffin has been adamant in saying that none of the AD saga and drama was happening before he got there. Now he's here. It's a new regime. He's probably going to sell that to AD and say, look, believe in me. I will put better pieces around you this year. Let's run it back. We got this kid, But at the same time, if you're Griffin, you do have this, unicorn that people literally are calling Zion. You don't want anybody to take touches away from this kid. You want this next year to be about Zion and Zion only, because first 3 years of a rookie's career, literally makes or break you. You have the occasional late bloomer and the guy that goes off right away, but some guys take a year or two before they're comfortable. And I'm a huge believer in Zion. I think he's going to probably average, 19 or 20 his rookie year, just being the physical specimen he is. But he might need a year.
Right.
Why waste it with trying to compete with AD and Drew?
Yeah, I think if they were really serious about trying to run it back, we're going to convince AD to stay, you should be looking to trade Zion, right? If you're really trying to win a championship for Anthony Davis right now, you're probably trading that rookie.
Like the Cavs did.
All for.
Exactly. It was the same situation with LeBron. Does he want to go in and mentor Andrew Wiggins while trying to win a championship? Or does he trade him for Caleb?
It's going to be, how could you look Anthony Davis in the face and not tell him we're planning more around Zion and not you when you're a free agent next year? You can't do that.
Can't.
So it doesn't change anything.
And it's all about leverage in this league. Right now, right before the draft, or even on the draft, is the time you can get the most value from him. And even then, teams are still trying to, bargain with you a little bit because they know he's a free agent next year.
Mm-hmm.
These teams like the Knicks and the Lakers and the Celtics, they will be in that running.
Yeah, plus
they're not going to give you everything they have now.
I think
maybe last year.
Yeah, I think rookies usually have the best allure before they play. Because you don't know how good they're going to be when they step in. Let teams speculate.
Yep.
Let teams think, oh, man, Zion could be ridiculous. So we got him. I don't know. I just think too many bridges have been burned between Anthony Davis and the Pelicans. He's gone. You put him on
everything possible for that organization. He brought crappy teams to the playoffs, and they still
there. He brought free agents to New Orleans.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. So
one of the smallest, the
you
least
put him on a
valuable
minutes restriction. You put him in a chokehold. You wanted to leave. Now you get a minutes restriction. All right, I'm gone.
Yeah,
he could easily pull another Kawhi situation. The longer you wait, like you said, the more leverage you lose. Trade him. Trade Drew Holiday. Just rebuild around Zion.
Rebuild.
That's the smartest 100%. Thing to do. Don't lose AD for nothing.
And as a new GM for a team, that's exactly all you want is a clean slate. And what better to start with a clean slate than frickin' Zion Williamson, bro?
Plus, it's such a unique situation because it's very similar to when Anthony Davis got drafted onto the Pelicans, except you have one of the best players in the league that you can trade for pieces, and you have one of the most sought-after point guards in the league that you can trade for a lot of pieces. So you can get a lot of young talent around him.
Yeah, you
can get a lot of young stuff. So
or bring in, bring in a freaking Jamal Crawford type guy to mentor, to mentor Zion. You could do that. So yeah, I mean that was just an interesting thing. We'll see what happens with that. David Griffin, he's got to hop on the phone. I'm sure he is. Alvin Gentry, I'm sure, is probably salivating at like the thought of them together. But I mean, come on, dude. Like, just be happy you got one of them. You know.
Yeah.
And then the last thing before we do shout outs, man, are the Lakers just. Magic Johnson went on First Take on the same day that they were introducing their new head coach, Frank Vogel. He went on in the morning before the presser, obviously West Coast, East Coast, and just trashed the entire Lakers. I wouldn't say trashed, but basically said that he felt he was backstabbed, especially by Rob Pelinka. And it created only Rob Pelinka. That's all that was the only name he said. Love Jeannie Buss, whatever, and all the other people. So that was not a good start for the Lakers when they have to introduce Frank Vogel. I sent you the clip of that reporter that basically asked Rob Pelinka. He's like, you guys didn't get Monty Williams. You guys didn't get this guy. You guys didn't get this guy. What basically made you want to settle on this guy right here? Like, the disrespect to this man's face. Like, I think that was a poor job by Pelinka. I feel like he should have address the question like as he was asking and be like, hold on, like this is our guy, like enough of this crap. Like yeah, we might have interviewed people before, but like come on. But LeBron was kind of in the background during the presser, didn't really want to be like super involved. Like I don't blame LeBron at all. I think he's kind of trying to distance himself, and he's really hoping this summer's gonna be a good one. Obviously he's gonna be the biggest recruiter for the Lakers. I know you got a lot of thoughts swirling around, but just late. I mean, this is just, it's a mess, bro.
So I'm going to take probably the opposite stance on what happened that day. And it's so funny because I feel like I'm the only one, except for a very small amount of people that saw the positivity in that day. I saw Magic Johnson on live television show why Pelinka was telling people he wasn't at work. That's not backstabbing. That's telling people what's happening.
Yeah.
If you're not in work, I'm going to tell people, sorry, you can't see Magic right now. He's not here. And then if that happens for a couple weeks, I'm going to start saying, wow, Magic really doesn't come here that often. Yep. And he's the president of basketball operations, where people want to meet with you. People want to talk about decisions. People want to talk about possible decisions that might come up in the future. So Magic, to me, kind of made a fool of himself on live TV.
He did. And then, I'm sorry to interrupt, you can continue, but the one thing I found so weird was that he then said that basically why he stepped down was because he wanted to fire Luke, and Jeannie wasn't about it. And then Magic stepped down, and then they still fired Luke.
Yeah.
So I'm confused. Sorry, continue.
I really think it was more about his perception of backstabbing. That whole press conference, him being on TV seemed like him trying to get back at Rob Pelinka.
Oh, 100%.
Which I really, at first I was like, wow, Rob, like, what are you doing? Why are you backstabbing? He was not backstabbing, though. I'm completely with Rob Pelinka on that. I think
that's what he said, yeah.
I think Magic is better off not on the Lakers staff, not as president, and I think it's almost better for the Lakers that he's not in the staff. He should be that freelance guy who's just doing whatever he does and still telling people, like, go play for the Lakers. Go play with LeBron. He can win you a chip. He said he's still going to recruit people. He already has been. He's already been having dinners with players and stuff. But as far as the conference, first of all, who really cares about an introduction conference for a coach? I don't care. I've never heard of another introduction of a coach that actually, like, did you ever hear about the press conference that introduced Ty Lue or whatever his face was, the guy who got fired?
No, but I think
who cares?
You know, when Fizdale had his, I was like, okay, let me see how the Knicks management talks about him and what his thoughts are and what his aspirations are with the team. I know it's not like super important to their performance, but you want to hear. And I think, don't get me wrong, Frank Vogel, I think, handled it perfectly. I think he said a lot of great things, but
just again another example of an idiot reporter. Like you should lose your job for that type of disrespectful question.
Yeah.
Like, you have no authority to say anything like that. You don't know what's going on in the Lakers headquarters, what they're talking about, who their guys are. Like, shut up. You're just basing it off Twitter, which is supremely annoying. And then second of all, I think just the fact that LeBron was there is a positive. It shows that he's just,
but
he should have been up.
He should have been up there. He should have been up there sitting with them. That's my opinion.
When is there ever a player sitting up there, though?
I think if you get a new coach in, I think it's important to embrace him.
I mean,
I don't know.
obviously,
I mean, that's
LeBron's a specific example, but I just like the fact that he's not nowhere to be seen. He's still at Lakers facilities. He's still promoting them. He still looks happy. He hasn't said anything about any of the situations, which is what he should do. All these people saying, "Oh, why is LeBron not saying anything? He's dissing and stuff." Like, he's having the first offseason in, I don't even know, how long has it been since his second year in the league? Since he's been in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, true.
What has that been? 15 years? He is loving life, man.
Yeah, no,
he's probably the happiest he's literally
going
ever.
to AAU tournaments with Bronny and doing
he's seen
this
his
and
kids, man. He's starting to cut the man some slack, man. I just think the only way you can say that the Lakers are dysfunctional, that it's a disaster, is the free agency. That is all what it comes down to. All this other bullcrap, I don't care.
I'm a little, and I know you're right. I know you're right, and I'm gonna put all of it on Pelinka though.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it on Pelinka and Bron. They got to be in the room, and they got to sell LA. And for me, I'm just nervous because Jeannie Buss is a nightmare right now. And from what all the sources are saying, I know obviously I'm not tapped in or whatever. These are other people saying, but like she's got Kurt Rambis whispering in her ear. She's got Linda Rambis whispering in her ear. She's got Phil Jackson apparently whispering in her ear, and then a couple other advisors. Like I feel like, and her brothers are like trying to get more power back in, and they're pissed because she took over a couple years ago. Like you just, as a free agent, I know it's not important basketball wise. I just think for the image of the franchise, and I think almost Bron is kind of like pissed off. That's why he's really in the dark right now, because he just doesn't want to say anything about it. He's just hoping it works itself out and everything. And I also think he's a little pissed at Magic, because you saw the clip on Barbershop, and I watched the episode like the other night, and he was like, "Yo, just confront me like a man, like come up to me and be like, hey, kiss my ass, I'm out of here." Then he'd be cool with it, but basically Magic defended himself on first take. He was like, I chose to handle it my own way. And it's like, all right, dude, but like you recruited LeBron. Like,
no, yeah.
Wasn't there this whole thing that like Magic waited outside LeBron's house for like an hour and they had wine together for like 3 hours and talked about the future? Like, dude, you owe him like, and to do it in the middle of the season too. Yeah. So that was the only thing that I think pissed Laker fans off and LeBron off.
I feel like you can tell LeBron was pissed and that he's talked to Lonzo about that, because Lonzo tries to shift the subject immediately right after that.
Oh, because
he tries to like lighten the mood and everything.
Yeah, he was. And the clip is so funny. LeBron said his right hand guy told him, and he's like, yo, get out of my face, man. You wild right now. He's like, yo, I don't believe this dude.
Yep.
And then he walked in the locker room and he said Zoe was on the floor, and all the rest of the guys, and they're like, you see this shit? That's funny, dude. But yeah, I'm with you. I think an off season to clear his head, recover his body, be ready for the full go next year, because you still got a lot of depth with these young guys. You can exchange all the crappy veterans you got in with new guys and maybe get that chance at a second superstar, which would be so nice. Yep. And you got the 4th pick. Forgot to get my man Cam Reddish on the Lakers. I'm starting it, bro. Draft him 4.
Amen. Don't sleep on Darius Garland. Do not sleep on him. Watch some film. I'm telling you, bro.
I've seen
dude
the
is
film.
Nice.
I know. I just the catch and shoot Cam with his length and size, I think it'd be perfect with Bron.
No, Cam would not be a bad second option.
But yeah, that was good TV. I mean, good job by ESPN, man. I bet their ratings are through the roof.
That was Stephen A, man. He scooped him.
Yeah, Stephen A. All right, we'll do some shout outs, bro. My first one, I might be taking yours. But the boy, Juwan Howard, I think, did we talk about this a little bit? We might have, but finalized, going to be the Michigan head coach, obviously a member of the Fab Five. Was talking about this earlier with one of my buddies. Like, it's like a lot of these colleges are taking this approach now, and they're just hiring the former players, which for some schools it's worked out. For others, it really hasn't. You got Penny at Memphis now. That's working out. Patty Ewing at G-Town. Remains to be seen. I'm trying to think of a couple others. You got freaking Chris Mullen and St. John's. That didn't work out, but a lot of these colleges are trying to get their alumnus in there. And I think if you're a kid, you're a 5-star recruit, and you want to go to Michigan, and you see Juwan Howard walk in the door to recruit you, you'd be like, oh damn, Oh, okay. You're about to be a member of the Fab Five. You know what I'm saying?
My bad. My shout out. I pressed mute by accident.
That's what I figured. I was like, whoa, what?
My shout out goes out to someone you just mentioned.
Yep.
Can you guess?
Penny.
Yes.
Yee.
Shout out to my man's Penny Hardaway.
Yes, sir.
This man got the number 1 player, got the number 14 player, got the number 37 player, got the number 48 player, got the number 56 player, got 98 and 108. What the bleep, yo? And I'm reading this right now. He got a top grad transfer on the market. Some guy named Rajon Tucker, who looks good. This dude was on the phone across the country, getting the number 1 recruiting class. I love seeing Memphis basketball up to what it used to be when it had D Rose and all those cool players.
Oh yeah.
James Wiseman and Precious are gonna be dangerous.
Yeah,
dangerous to watch that team.
I cannot wait. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm pretty sure. What did you say? It was like 38th or something like that. That I think his kid's name is like DJ Jeffries. That dude's a problem too. Like they're gonna be stacked. Yeah, that's a good shout out. My other shout out, I got 2 kind of half shout outs. One is for my Knicks youngins, Damian Dotson, Alonzo Trier. All they've been doing on Twitter is just straight defending KD. Like him and KD and Broussard got in this little thing, you know. I don't know if you saw that about how Broussard said he's been texting KD like all the time, and KD basically came out and was like, "You ain't got my number, fool." And all Damian and Trier are doing, I'm like, "Yes, sir, tell him it." I'm like, "Let's go." Like that's my Knicks boys trying to recruit right there, defending their future teammate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's funny.
And then, of course, the sixth god himself, a Drizzy Drake, massaging Nick Nurse's shoulders, man. Like, he's like, hey, man, we got this, bro. Take your time. A little bit of controversy there, whether he should be allowed to do it, but F it, man. You know, they're winning. And I think basically, like, Budenholzer's been complaining about it. And I think Drake basically responded, like, hey, man, if you're tired of all this, like, shut me up then, man. Like,
hey, don't let me celebrate. Can we be real about something real quick, though?
Go ahead.
If Drake's going to be doing all that, why don't you try doing that at the Bucks Arena?
Yeah, like, he better be in Milwaukee.
What's good, bro?
That's true. That's
you a super fan. Represent. Come on now.
Big facts.
Don't hide in the 6.
Come on. Don't send Gucci. You know, don't send Gucci as your replacement or whatever.
So yeah.
Oh man, that'd be fun.
I'll gain a lot of respect.
He'll get trashed in Milwaukee.
Yeah, you got.
He might have to go to press box or something. You know.
I'll take the heat, man.
All right, man. Any other shout outs, or you just got the one with the Penny Boy?
Oh yeah, that's all I got.
That's a good one. All right, man. Well, man, big game 5 tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Until next time, this is Count the Bucket. Peace.